Yes, indeed, Sir Godfrey, said the king. After such a long, hard ride, I do admire your stamina, Sir Godfrey. But, sir, you must be very, very thirsty after such exertion. Oh, yes, yes, said Sir Godfrey. Your Majesty, yes, absolutely, sire, I am very thirsty. It is true. Well, said the king, I would like to offer you, brave knight, a drink from my very own royal cup. And he held out that golden goblet studded with jewels to Sir Godfrey, and Sir Godfrey took it and looked inside. And there was some strange, slightly fizzy, sparkly black liquid in there. Drink, Sir Godfrey, said the king, and Sir Godfrey put the cup to his lips, and oh, it tasted so wonderful and refreshing and dark and light and sour and sweet all at the same time. He drank the whole goblet dry. Oh, thank you very much, Your Majesty. It is rather strong, but I must say very tasty, and oh my goodness. And as Sir Godfrey looked into the goblet, he could see the liquid level coming up in the goblet again. The goblet was refilling all by itself. Drink, good knight, said the king. Certainly, sire, very kind. Strange, self-filling cup, and he drank the whole draught of the goblet until it was empty. Well, Your Majesty, said Sir Godfrey, that certainly is very, very fine, I must say. It puts one in a state of almost instant relaxation. Drink one more, good knight, said the king. And sure enough, but the goblet had filled itself up again, and all Sir Godfrey wanted to do was drink one more draught. He drank it all up. Oh my goodness, Your Majesty, I put the cup down on the table, clunk. As if I dropped the damn thing. Sorry, Your Majesty, most uncouth of me, but all of a sudden, Your Majesty, I feel very, very sleepy. Sir Godfrey had fallen in a crumpled heap upon the ground. Oh, that royal potion from the evil king who was the Elfin knight, oh, it was too strong. And the king had won again, and the ravens on his throne croaked and flapped their wings, and the little dancing goblins laughed and cackled. And the king himself let out an evil, villainous laugh. Ha 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 ha! Another one enslaved. Good night, good night. Meanwhile, back in the forest, poor old Sir Henry St. Clair had seen Sir Godfrey ride off in pursuit of the evil elfin knight, being under his spell from the word go. But he rode, and he rode hard, and he followed the tracks and the broken branches and all the signs that led him on the trail where Sir Godfrey, his friend, had pursued the elfin knight until it brought him out of the forest, on to that lonely waste of heather and grass, up to the top of the hill. And when Sir Henry looked down into the valley, he could see the valley floor was all white, covered in snow. And in the dim light of late afternoon, he made out the dark circle, the circle of lush green grass growing most unnaturally in the middle of winter snow. Yes, and Sir Henry went down. He rode on his horse, picked his way through the snow towards the circle of green grass. And what did he see? Well, the goblins were still dancing to the strange music, though the music was fainter before, and in the gathering twilight, the goblins, well, you could almost see through them. They were kind of translucent, spinning and whirling round and dancing. They were like curls and wisps of smoke from a fire in the fog. And there in the middle of the circle was the king, seated at his throne of dark wood, at his polished marble and granite table. The ravens at his shoulders and the bejewelled golden cup back, sitting in front of the king. And the king beckoned Sir Henry to come to the circle with a big smile. And you know, for a moment, Sir Henry really wanted to go in. He really loved that king, but in horror he saw at the foot of the table, on the ground, the crumpled body of his best friend, Sir Godfrey. "Godfrey, I'm coming," said Sir Henry. He drew his sword and put one foot, only one foot he'd put into that circle of green grass, when a little goblin with a black eye came up and said, "No, Sir Henry, do not enter this circle. That evil elfin knight is a wicked king. He has already put your friend under the spell of that terrible magic potion. And if you go in, you'll end up like him. And if you end up like him, you'll end up like me, turned into a goblin, forced to serve this evil king 7 long years. And after the 7 years, I don't even know what happens." "Oh, I see," whispered Sir Henry to himself. "This is what's happened to all the people who went missing in this wasteland. There they are, turned almost into curls of smoke, little goblins trapped in this form, slaves of that evil king who rides the forest as the elfin knight, charming and deceiving those who fall under his spell. Well, I'm not one of those. I have my mother's magic charm on my arm." And he said to the goblin, "There must be some way. I will die before I leave my friend here to this fate, and maybe I can set you free too. What can I do to get in the circle and get my friend back and defeat the wicked king?" "Well, I'll tell you," said the goblin, "but it's very, very hard." "Just tell me," said Henry. "Well, come here." And the goblin pretended to be picking something up off the ground or doing up a goblin shoelace or something, and he whispered to Sir Henry that this is what you have to do, Sir Henry. You have to keep one foot inside the circle of green grass and the other foot outside the circle there in the snow, and you must stay absolutely still from now until sunrise. And at sunrise you must go and fetch the body of your friend and get him out of this circle. And when you leave the circle, Sir Henry, do not look back. Do not look back." "Very well, thank you, little goblin man," said Sir Henry. And he stood still, his sword in its sheath. And he stood there all night long, as twilight faded into night. It was a winter night. The stars were brilliant and shining against the pitch black sky. All was dark and horrible and cold, and Sir Henry stood there shivering but daring not to step. He needed to pee. He didn't move. It was agony. It seemed that night would go on forever, like a cold black hell. But eventually his weary eyes saw grey before him, different shades of grey. The shades of grey were the land standing out from the sky. The twilight of dawn was coming, and soon the dawn turned from grey to deep purple, from deep purple to violet to orange, and then the first rays of gold sunlight crept across the snow, weakly glittering in the morning light. And there, in the centre of the circle, was the king, fast asleep covered in what looked like a cloak of frost, and the ravens with their heads tucked under their wings, and the goblins, all that was to be seen were little chunks of ice, and inside each chunk a twisted, tiny goblin-like form, and there in the middle of it all was the body, frost-covered, of his best friend and knight, Sir Godfrey. Godfrey, I'm coming, I'm cold, but I'm coming. He pulled his sword out of its scabbard, stiff with cold. He hobbled, he limped, he leapt towards Sir Godfrey's body. He picked up the body, but the ravens awoke, and they croaked and flapped their wings, and the body of the king shifted in its frosty sleep. And Sir Henry didn't dare look back. He ran with the heavy body of his friend, lifeless, on top of his shoulders, till he reached the edge of the circle of green grass and fell into the snow and dropped the body of Sir Godfrey. And there was a wheezing sound from under Godfrey's cloak, and then a head appeared. "Oh my God! Oh my God!" said Godfrey. "What the hell happened? Oh my God! Godfrey, you're alive! Oh, my friend, my dear friend, you're alive!" "Yeah, of course I'm alive," said Sir Godfrey, "but what happened?" "Henry, I've got a terrible headache, and my mouth is dry as a bone." "Henry, what did we do last night? Did we get, really drunk? Did we get into trouble?" "Oh, you got into trouble," said Henry. "You followed the Elfin knight through the forest, and you thought he was some great guy with a green banner, and you wanted to learn his name, his order, and agree and follow him. And I told you it's not. There's an evil king riding a monster." Well, you followed him, and whatever happened, you were there, lifeless, your body heaped there all night long. God knows what the king and those ravens and whoever were going to do to you. Might have been turned into a goblin." "A goblin?" said Sir Godfrey. "Henry, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know about any elfin knight, king, raven, circle, whatever, because I don't remember anything from last night, okay? And that wouldn't be the first time. So if you say there's a king and all these goblins, well, where are they?" "Well, they're over there," said Henry. "What?" "I can't see anything," said Godfrey, and Henry looked over, just to the circle where he'd run from the king. But there was no king, no throne, and no table of polished marble and granite, and no bejeweled golden goblets, and no goblins, just a circle of green grass. And high in the sky, 2 big black birds, 2 ravens, wheeling and circling and croaking. "Let us search the whole place," said Sir Henry. "There must be a sign this terrible evil feast of that wicked king was there." And they went through the long grass, their swords drawn, and with the points of their swords even looked through the grass, parting the dewy blades of grass, and all they found was one tiny cup of black polished stone, with 1 drop of morning dew inside. And Sir Henry St. Clair kept that cup. It was the only relic, the only sign there had ever been an evil elfin knight turned king, with a cup of potion with which he enchanted unfortunate followers lured by his charisma into a wasteland to become his slaves. Well, I guess you could say they lived happily ever after. Godfrey and Henry went home, and Henry had a story to tell, but he didn't tell his mother straight away. She might have got alarmed, and all Sir Godfrey could do was talk about a wild night that he didn't remember, where Henry told crazy stories about a king and goblins. But that was not the end for Sir Henry. For Sir Henry, night after night, he would awake from nightmares, and always in these nightmares there was a face looking at him from the forest, a face with wicked eyes, and out of the face grew vines and leaves and flowers and berries. The mouth, the nose, the ears, even the eyes, a green face, leering and staring at him out of the forest. Night after night that happened. And the years passed, and Sir Henry, he had to go travelling. He couldn't bear to stay in Rosslyn any longer, even though no one heard of the Elfin Knight after that. Nobody went missing or disappeared. Sir Henry sailed with his cousins from the Orkney Isles across the Western Ocean to the unknown, to another land. And all those travels made Sir Henry very wealthy, and when he came home, he built a beautiful sandstone chapel in Rosslyn, not far at all from the castle. But that chapel has strange things in it. In one of the wings, in one of the aisles, there are strange plants carved on the ceilings, plants that weren't in Europe in the 1400s. Plants that were only from America, that Henry St. Clair and his family brought back 50 years before Christopher Columbus sailed the Atlantic to supposedly discover America. It was Henry St. Clair and his family who did that. And then the faces, the church, you can see it, it's the carvings of goblins and beasts and demons and dragons. But most common are the faces of the Green Man. The faces of the Green Man carved on the interior and exterior walls of Rosslyn Chapel. Faces of a man with leaves and vines and branches and flowers and fruits coming out of his mouth, his nose, his ears, and even his eyes. They're known as the Green Men of Rosslyn, and there are over 110 of those faces carved on the walls. Henry St. Clair was a man obsessed with that face, that image in the forest, the face of the evil Elfin Knight. Now that story happened hundreds and hundreds of years ago. But Rosslyn is still a magical place, and once you've seen these carvings in the chapel, go to the castle and walk about it, walk in the steep places underneath where the drawbridge used to be, under the towers, round the back of the ancient yew tree, in to the dark, dank gorge of Rosslyn Glen where the River Esk rushes. And in the silence, you may just hear a noise, and I wonder what you will do if the noise you hear is this. And that, my friends, is the tale of Henry St. Clair of Rosslyn and the Elfin Knight.